Let's talk about R.I.P.D 2, Rise of the Damned, which literally just dropped straight to video on demand and DVD/Blu-ray, which isn't really the best start, is it? Firstly, there's going to be some pretty major spoilers ahead, so if you aren't cool with that, switch away now and come back later after you've watched it, or just switch away and break my heart. And lastly, go and hit subscribe right now. Go on. Let's crack on. R.I.P.D 2 is a follow-up to, I bet you can guess right, R.I.P.D 1. Well, it wasn't called R.I.P.D 1 because it was the first one, so never mind. The Rest in Peace department, where Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges teamed up in the afterlife to protect the living world from the undead. It's a buddy cop movie where Jeff, called Roy in the movie, is outdated and old-fashioned, and Ryan Reynolds, who is called Nick, is less outdated and old-fashioned. Many people actually drew similarities between this and Men in Black because, you know, where it's a buddy cop type movie where one of them's outdated and old-fashioned and the other one isn't, and they just kind of clash for a bit while saving the world from aliens before eventually making a power couple that can be milked over a bunch of films time and time again. I do get the similarities because R.I.P.D is a buddy cop type movie where one of them's outdated and old-fashioned and the other one isn't, and they kind of clash for a bit while saving the world from monsters. See? Difference? Before eventually making a power couple that can be milked over a bunch of films time and time again, or at least once in R.I.P.D's case so far. A prequel, nonetheless. So R.I.P.D 2 starts with a prospector shit-talking some dirt while hunting for gold, only to open a portal to hell itself. Imagine that, just there in that very film set. Sorry, mine is Satan and his minions just one pickaxe swing away. Turns out putting your hand even near the hole sets it on fire too and sends out some ominous lost-looking smog which is going to levitate you and burn some gnarly hole in your chest before you rise up with glowing black eyes. I bet that guy on YouTube who bought Sarah Gordo is bricking himself right now. Just saying. This being the Wild Wild West, along pop a multicultural gang of bandits to rob the train station in probably the least action-packed action scene you'll ever see this side of Christmas. And just like that, the sheriff's shot in the back of the head and arrives in purgatory. The sheriff, by the way, if you haven't seen the first film or missed it when I said literally a minute ago, is called Sheriff Roy Pulsifer. And I'll be honest, when I think of action film hero names, Roy isn't up there. It's not even top 10. It literally falls behind other shit names like John, especially when they're like Sergeant Marshal Deputy John or something like that. Of course, they come back as black women and make a few quick jokes about the fact that they are indeed black and are indeed vaginaed up because, you know, that's how Hollywood deals with diversity and inclusion issues instead of actually sorting out systemic racism problems that they have going on. But what do I know? They make a "my best friend is black" banger of a joke, so +1 for their ingenious writing or something. Some cheap CGI that resembles a Walmart version of Venom soon busts out on one of the humans who's imprisoned in one of them jail cart things you see all the time in Red Dead Redemption and more than likely, but I can't confirm for sure, the real Wild West back in the day. Turns out the gang from the start were all infected by that new evil, so Big Roy gets to hunt his killers and the evil thing all in one go. What a plot twist. Now before I do hammer this too much, the Wild West setting is always pretty cool, isn't it? Cowboys always look pretty quality somehow unless they're wearing arseless chaps, which I'm not so personally into. Well, not always personally into, all the time. But now that level of positivity's out the way, can someone please tell me why a man pulls a tiny little face out of someone's abdomen and just tells it to open its eyes a few times before shooting it in the face? Because I really didn't get it other than to prove he was a devil or Venom or whatever this bad guy is. All I'm saying here though is if I was the devil, I reckon I could do something better than find a little tiny head to intimidate people with. I'd keep shooting myself in the face and showing people how hot. Oh wait, hang on, the good guys do that constantly through this film for a laugh amongst themselves. There's literally about 25 minutes of that gag replayed over and over again. Okay, maybe I'd just start the apocalypse like I'm here to do and not just fuck around for an hour and a half. But I guess that's why I'm not the devil. I'd just be too good at it and put the big red machine to shame, wouldn't I? And by that I do mean Cain, the realest evil that this world has ever seen. And his brother, bit of a dick, wasn't he? You know what this feels like? It feels like someone who enjoys the Marvel angle of creating jovial heroes who are likeable, have a good backstory or overall arc, and are generally enjoyable to watch in every new instalment. However, what we get here is a cheap knockoff that feels like a wanky attempt to replicate something far more successful than it does anything standalone, with any chance of survival on its own merit without just sucking on the teat of Mother Marvel. I've no idea why I went in that direction with that analogy, but it's out there now, so you're gonna have to deal with it while I vomit in my own mouth for a minute. Perhaps Rest in Peace department should be left to rest in peace after this one. Get it? Because it's It's in the never mind, don't worry about it. The film carries on for a little while with honestly very little of interest happening past this point. There's a man who's hyperventilating for a bit, but he's wearing some mask which somehow stops the devil being inside you. Someone sets fire to a bit of paper at one point, and they do keep shooting Jake Choi's character every time he says something they don't like, just for the pure banter. Just never stops, the banter train in this one. It left that station at the beginning of the film and it just kept chugging. The bit that really confuses me though is that the first film, R.I.P.D, cost Universal $130 million and it didn't break even. So Universal went ahead with this sequel 9 years later and clearly put less money into it. It feels cheaper in every single aspect. Even the lighting is terrible throughout it, which makes it even harder to watch. Anyway, let's conclude, shall we? Because I know you're just itching for me to finish inside your ears with my review, you dirty little shitbag. Stop flirting and grow up. So it turns out the woman sidekick is actually Joan of Arc and Roy is her fourth partner. But what I don't really get is that at least there's been 4 nearly apocalypses beforehand. How has she had 4 partners? Also, the bad guy reminds me a little bit of the Cockney hitchhiker from The Mighty Boosh when he's quite literally raising hell properly. Could be the reason everyone gets these ghouls up inside you, finding an entrance where they can. I won't sing the rest of that song because if you know where they pour through, you know enough already. But weirdly, these gas mask things are now useless, rendering the whole shtick with them to begin with. If there was a shtick. The Dementors from Harry Potter just whiz around the room a bit before the worst gunshot CGI, and I can't believe I'm going to call it this, action is shown. Honestly, it's fucking painful. And then Joan of Arc picks up what I guess is the sword of Gryffindor. It all feels very done before in every other successful film somewhere, but I guess that's not really an R.I.P.D 2 issue, is it? Loads of films are just recycling the same shite, but just slightly repackaged because they run out of ideas and we're stupid enough to gobble it up most of the time. But not with this one. No siree. Is that what they used to say in the Wild West? Sounds like something they said in the Wild West. Let me live. The devil turns out to be Astaroth in the end, the third of the Holy Trinity alongside Beelzebub and Lucifer. He wants his own little gig though, hence going mental in this film. In fairness to the film, when he looks all Ghost Rider for about 8 seconds, he looks pretty fucking cool before they just shoot him with some glowing bullet and he dies instantly. The final fight is painfully short for some reason. Shorter than we even get to see Rory crying about his daughter getting married at the end and him finally getting to see it, even if he is disguised as a lady to everyone else. It was disappointingly short, that final fight. I guess in the worst case, I know how my girlfriend feels, but in filmland, utter shit. Lad banter about my premature ejaculation problems. Wait, edit that bit out, lads. Edit it out. We can't let that go out. Oh, fuck, what have I done? And so the film ends with Roy finding out his contract with the R.I.P.D is a minimum of 100 years and then getting Mufasa'd as the credits roll. So that was pants, really, wasn't it? What do you lot reckon? Did you enjoy it, or did you just kind of struggle through this wondering why you don't have anything better to do, just like I did? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for listening. Cheers, baby cake. Dropped a pen, didn't I?